Well, at the moment, my plan is just kind of to just keep doing it. So originally, my plan was to put out one thing a week. I broke that last week. And I haven't put something out this week yet, but I plan to still. But by that, I don't mean an original song each week. My plan is to have either a cover, like a singing cover, or a song every week. And basically, what I'm trying to get with that is I just want to.
Welcome to Metaverse Degen. I'm lying.
I'm Old Man Raptor, and folks, we got one that's wound up. So hopefully you can keep on your scooter because it's going to take one hell of a ride, and that is.
Hello, I'm Anks. Nice to meet you.
Thank you very much, Anks, for joining us. It's an absolute pleasure to have you.
Yes, it's appreciated so much. I got the scooter
Thank you
out
for the
back running,
invitation.
so if you go too fast, I'll just hop on and speed dial and run it. Okay.
So what is it you're most known for here in VRChat, and how'd you get started with everything?
Right, it depends a bit on who you ask, really. I guess like known for probably more so for DJing because that's kind of how I started out. But yeah, it could be that people say like for dancing as well. I was doing VJing for quite a while as well, so like visuals for the DJs. Do plenty of avatar edits, renders, and since like I think like 2 months maybe now, I started producing my own music and picked up singing. So yeah.
Oh, wow.
And how I get started with all that, I guess you could say I'm one of the COVID babies of VRChat. I was literally dragged in by a friend of mine who like one day approached me. It was like in winter, like December. And he said like, Angs, I'm celebrating my birthday in VRChat. You're doing what now? So there I was in the classic, black and blue drinking world on desktop, surrounded by a lot of loud people. And I didn't really know like what to make of it because like to me it was just a loud mess really. But I was intrigued by the idea, like people can just like meet up like this. And the only experience I had with VR beforehand was that I got really motion sick at Gamescom one time at a gaming convention in Europe. So I was like, and what absolutely sold it for me when I looked into it a little more after, because it was just like the thought was like fascinating to me. And what sold it to me was when I found out that full body tracking is a thing and you can dance in VRChat. And I love dancing. I've been dancing my entire life. I started when I was like 15 or something. And when I saw that, like, what do you mean? You can dance and you can like look good and you don't have to worry about like outfit malfunctions and stuff. Yeah. And I think I had my VR headset like a month after that. And then my full body tracking 2 weeks later. All secondhand.
Hey,
I got a question for Ryan. I got a question. Since you just said that you started, what was when you first came into VR and everything else, and you saw something, you just said, "Oh, I'm out of here. I gotta go. I'm out of here."
Well,
This is not
I
for
didn't
me.
say I'm
What
out
was
of
it?
here. I was just here like, oh, you mean when I got in VR and whether I wanted to leave? Is that what you mean?
You just left the instance that you were in so AASP that you go, nope, that's not for me.
The weirdest thing is what he's referring to.
Like the weirdest thing that ever happened to me? Oh man. It's hard to pinpoint one thing down, to be honest. Like, let's face it, you meet a lot of like really weird people sometimes. Oh man, the weirdest thing. Oh, that's a tough one. I mean, what usually scares me off pretty easily is when people just like are a bit like tone deaf when it comes to like holding conversations. That they just like you're sitting there and all of a sudden their entire life story. Just like I met you like 5 minutes ago.
Fair.
But like what really scared me off, I can't really like put my finger down. I remember one time I saw two people doing the deeds in desktop mode, like in the middle of a party. That was weird. It was especially weird
There we are.
I usually
that's the best one, yeah.
I usually don't show a lot of avatars, so that I don't crash. So I was just watching like a hot dog and a cactus. I was like, what the fuck are these things doing?
No, it's a hot dog and a cactus instead of a banana.
Yeah, that was
yeah, that's the last one. Yeah, the last person was a banana and a hot dog. Yours is a cactus.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw that interview
again.
actually. But I mean, nothing too bad that it like shoot me off permanently. Like VRChat is just too much of a wonderful like playground to do all kinds of like fun stuff.
I very much agree. Now, Now that you mentioned you do DJing and now you produce your own music, did you have any prior experience to VRChat with that? Or was VRChat your first instance of getting involved with those things?
I mean, I guess you could count the dancing thing in terms of like, has some kind of like feeling for a beat, if you want to say that. And I was forced to learn the guitar as a child, and I didn't like it at all. And ironically enough, now I have a guitar. But apart from that, not at all. I do remember like how I got started with it. I was visiting like parties like DDVR and stuff like quite frequently and was just dancing through the night and had a great time. And then during COVID, my work hours kept getting reduced. I think the lowest was like that I was at like 10 hours a week.
Oh.
I had a lot of free time and I was literally sitting here like, can't go out, can't do it. What do I do now? And then one day, just out of nowhere, I was like, man, those DJs are really cool. I wonder whether I could do that. And that's the story I'll tell pretty much every time someone asks me that. I just went on YouTube, and that is how I learn things to this day, how to insert what you want to learn. In my case, how to DJ. And I like grabbed the first or second video I could find, and the rest is history.
Oh, wow. So what was some of your first instances of DJing here in VRChat? What clubs did you go to, and what was the experience like for you after you taught yourself?
So my very first set was for a friend of mine who's not on VRChat anymore, but he used to just like hold like casual drinking nights. Like people would meet up and they would do like their card games, and then afterwards he would just push people into like a different world, put on a YouTube mix, and and just people just hang out there. So I was like, hey man, so you're doing this thing, and I started DJing. Can I DJ for you? So that was like my very first instance of doing that back in desktop and everything, and I was so incredibly nervous, but it went well. And then after that, like for my actual like real VR club, as in they're not like focused on drinking, they're actually like doing the actual events and stuff. That was for Club Reality. Oh boy, was I nervous! It was so bad. And then
Question
from
mark.
there on, like I had so much fun doing that I literally just I don't know whether you know this gif of the like big yellow bird from the Sesame Street who kicks in the door and is just standing in the door frame menacingly. That was me rolling into every VR club. I just like, who's responsible for DJ applications? Like I just started like going around being like, I'm a DJ and I'm enjoying this so much. Let me DJ. And from there, I just kind of made my way like made my way through the scene. I remember one set in particular, which was for DDVR, my very first DDVR set. And because I've been there so many times beforehand and all the DJs were always amazing, I was particularly nervous before that set. So I remember sitting for like, I think 8 or 10 hours. I just sat in front of my computer. I prepared that set. I didn't get up once. I was so nervous. That set was like planned minute by minute.
Wow. You said you had a question, Mr. Raptor.
Yeah. When you're doing your sets and stuff like this, what do you get out of it when you're watching the people out on the floor and stuff like this? What do you get from it?
What I get from it, I mean, honestly, the reason why I like do pretty much everything I do is because I just want to see people happy. Like I just want people to have a good time. And if it's just one dude in desktop like doing the desktop dance, then I'm happy already. Like yeah, it's I like kind of I like go by this quote. I keep forgetting who said it, but it was the guy from The Greatest Showman. The noblest art is to make other people happy. And that's just what keeps me going. Doing something I love and then being like, yo guys, this thing is really fun that I'm doing. Look, I'm gonna share it with you. Are you guys having fun too with it? Yay! So like very much of a like happy-go-lucky like mindset. This yeah, just seeing people happy and enjoying themselves, and then on the way there I can laugh at myself and like some fucked up transitions every now and then, so that's quite fun as well.
Well, from some of those first sets you mentioned, like DDVR or your first club, when you like, as you mentioned, like the gift kicking the door and asking for an application, what were you anticipating the entire experience be like when you were teaching yourself versus how it actually was when you tried it?
I didn't really anticipate it to be a certain way, to be honest, because it was all new to me, like VR and then VRChat and then like being in VR, although well, back then I was DJing in desktop. So I was just here like, you know what, I'm just, what can they do? Like, say no. Oh, how scary. I had zero expectations going in. I just knew I had a lot of fun mixing and that I wanted to do it more. That was literally all.
Okay. So I have another fun question for you that I know a lot of DJs we've talked with enjoy talking about. What kind of equipment do you use, and what is your bread and butter musically?
So currently I'm on the DDJ FLX6. Don't mix up letters here. I started out on a really small controller, which is the oh, what was that called? I still have that little guy. Hercules Impulse 200 or something. And in between those, I upgraded to the DDJ 400, I think, because literally that first controller was just the same controller the guy in the video used that I watched. So I was like, all right, I'll do that. Found that for $50 on eBay. I was like, okay, let's go. Because I think it doesn't make a lot of sense. Like if you just start out with something that you pour all your money in the equipment. Like imagine, you get like a big like DJ deck like straight away, and then it's, oh, that isn't for me. It's like, why would you do that? And now I have a spare in case my main one breaks, so that's good. But yeah, that's what I'm using currently. And music wise, if you just tune into my sets, you will find me just play a lot of like danceable house music, a lot of Latin as well. Your typical club stuff, I'd say. Because I enjoy dancing so much myself, I just have a lot of fun mixing that too. But generally, I always tend to say that like every genre comes with its own beauty. So, for example, right, before I was a DJ, I did not like techno, and I did not like dubstep and rhythm and like the hard like headbanging stuff. Like, nah. And now I'm here like, oh yeah, funny enough, I still wouldn't sit down and like listen to an hour of techno, but it's fun to mix it. And same with dubstep, and same with literally any other genre I encountered.
Hmm.
Like before I was DJing, I didn't even know what Jersey Club was, and now I'm here like, oh, that's fun. So I do have like my main like area, which is just like house dancey stuff. But whenever I get the chance to like mix literally anything and everything, I'll take it. Like there's literally a channel point redeem on my Twitch channel where people can just redeem electro swing, like mix in electro swing now, or they can redeem tear out. And what people started doing was they would like time it with each other. So like one person would redeem electro swing and one would like redeem tear out dubstep rhythm, and that's why you find the occasional clip of me like mixing Mr. Sandman into some headbanging rhythm track. And it's so much fun, honestly. I love it. Like every genre like comes with its own beauty, in my opinion.
Hmm. Now, would you do those channel redeems for people? Is that during a set you would do in a club, or are those like separate instances, like you're DJing for the stream, not for a VRChat club?
So what I do is basically I run every time I'm DJing, I run two streams at the same time.
Hmm.
One is just in the world, and it's my visuals. So I have like a separate visual loop, which is just like 10 minutes of visuals that keep looping. Some people to this day think that I'm VJing live, but no, it's just nicely looped. And then on Twitch at the same time, you can see me like with the camera pointing at me, and I actually like talk to people and chat and stuff, but you won't hear that in the world because that's something that bothered me a lot during my own sets. That like, for example, if the screen was behind me, you would see like my own stream behind me again on the screen, and it would just keep looping, and it just bothered me so much. And what also bothered me was that I didn't like knowing that people in the world heard my voice. I don't know why. It's really weird because, of course, a DJ grabs the microphone sometimes, but I'm such a chatterbox, as you notice. So sometimes I talk a bit much. So I said, okay, Anks, what can we do about this? And then I decided, even though my computer is absolutely melting every time, that I would just separate it. So I run two streams on two different streaming softwares. One has the visuals for the VRChat experience, and one has my camera, my microphone, and all that stuff. Yeah, on Twitch.
Oh wow! So does that other stream get their own like DJ sets when you're, as you said, allow them to redeem channel points, or is that redeem points for the other stream in the VRChat club?
Well, the music that runs is the same, you know, it's literally just like two different angles. Like I'm only mixing one set at a time.
Yes.
But basically, you know, if you are on Twitch and you're listening to my stream and then you redeem Electro Swing, I'll be here like, you know, all right, guys, here we go. And the people who are in VRChat, like just listening to the world music, they're just gonna have to suffer through it and be like, what the fuck is this DJ doing? But honestly, that's okay. I can live with that.
Honestly, that actually sounds kind of fun and unique. Although for the VRChat experience,
It's
I'm
a
sure
lot
they're
of fun.
kind of confused. Let's listen to some house music. Wait, why is there tear out? I'm sure it's a great time.
Yeah, pretty much. I especially love because, you know, I have this like little core group who are around a lot for my sets and they're always like front and center and they're headbangers. They love tear out and stuff. So you'll just have like this like very confused floor and then like 3, 4, 5 people at the front like yeah. So yeah, like shout out Lizard, Santa, Nico. You guys are awesome.
Well, coming from what you said earlier, that before you never really listened to electronic music, being a VRChat DJ seems a very unique track to take. What about it pulled you to it to want to get involved?
Really just wondering what I can do with my time, honestly. Literally, what I said earlier, I was literally like, oh, what am I gonna do now? That seems cool. I'm gonna try that. And it's not that I didn't like listen to electronic music before at all. It was just, I guess I was like, my music taste was like very narrow, you know? I would listen to like the stuff that you hear on the radio and and whatever like most popular on Spotify, and I never like really looked into like what exactly do I like. One thing I always had was a particular for Latin music, but that's again from my dancing background. But where it originally came from, literally just that seems fun. I'm gonna try that, and that is something I approach things with like to this day.
Well, I'm going to ask you 2 questions. Both of them not even connected, but I'll start with, did VRChat ever expand what you listen to for music with you going through the DJ and the club scene?
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, 100%. I can't even add anything to that.
Fair.
The stuff with this like tarot stuff is or like rhythm and dubstep stuff, that's the best example in my opinion, because you know I remember before I was DJing I would, you know, run through VRChat and see friends in an instance be like, oh, what are these guys up to? I join and what I see is just like flashing lights and noise. And some people might not like me for that, but every time someone asks me like, oh, Anks, what's tear out? And my response is usually like, you know, like you throw a brick in a washing machine and turn it on. Like, yeah, pretty much that, but I love it. And I say it like also jokingly at this point, but yeah, absolutely, 100%, and I'm so happy for that, honestly.
Well, Lion, you know how her laundry goes. She just throws bricks in her laundry to make sure she beats every inch of it out to death.
Oh no, I don't even need to do that. I don't have my own washing machine, but my car sounds like that on default, so that's okay.
Oh, your poor car.
Poor fucking car.
Yeah,
My God.
poor little guy needs some repairs done.
Oh my God.
Something you've mentioned a few times that you have a dancing background. What got you started with your dancing background? Was it something you were formally taught, or did you just do it for fun?
Oh yeah, that was like back in my childhood. That was literally, I remember that day very well actually, because you know, I grew up being kind of like told what I have to be. It's like, here's the instrument you gotta learn, here's the hobby you gotta approach, and then eventually, you know, I grew up as grown up as you can be with 15, and I noticed like, hang on, I don't have to do any of it. And I literally remember the day where I just like I would walk up to my mother and be like, I actually don't want to do this. I want to go to a dance school. And she was not too fond of that because I wanted to dance hip hop. And she was like, all right, you do you. I mean, she didn't like it, but she let me do it. So I started with hip hop dancing, and then I had this like wonderful like dance teacher who was like, I can't even put it into words. Like the dance school was like so sweet, like a little family. And obviously, because if you roll up in the dance school, you also see the lessons that are before and after you. Like you catch a bit of that. And that's how eventually I got to ballroom dancing. So like, classical, like waltz and stuff like that. Latin dancing, and belly dancing as well, but that came a lot later. And I was just like, oh my God, like same with the music really for DJing. I'm just noticing the parallels. Like I was just like, oh my God, it's all wonderful in its own way. Gimme. So I always focused on hip hop. I did do the classical and the Latin dancing on the side kinda. And the belly dancing, I was just kinda like watching. I was just like taking notes. And it took me actually until I think 25, 26 until I actually did proper belly dance lessons, and not for very long then either, because then I kind of like ran out of time to attend them. But I still love like learning from YouTube what I can.
Okay. So I have a another fun question on those lines. Since you've went to a formal dance school, has there anything in VRChat that expanded what you know for dancing as well, the same way it did for music and DJing?
Yes, 100%. And mainly, I don't know whether you've ever heard of Evergarden. Mainly the Evergarden event hall. Yeah, so I'm a performer for them as well. And I took a few months of a break just now and started pretty much last weekend.
Well, congratulations.
And thank you. Yeah, I'm very excited. Lovely team, and I honestly, I love how much their visions kind of like overlap with my own. They see VRChat and they see like all these cool things that you can do with it. Yeah, you can put a dancer on a stage, and that's awesome. And then you can like play music for them and let them do their thing, or you can craft this entire experience where you're greeted at the door, and then you're being seated, and you got this host, and you have like an entire storyline around the show. So I was intrigued by that from the start. And the problem with me is that I tend to push myself, and then like anything below perfection is like not good enough, which is a terrible mindset. I need to get out of that. And the folks at Evergarden are very kind and like helpful and understanding when it comes to that, luckily. But yeah, so basically in this process of like wanting to keep pushing myself, I kept asking myself, like, oh, what else can I learn? What do I want to do? And then what skills do I need to do that? For example, my and that's like it's kind of like moving away a little from the actual dancing aspect. But for my very first Evergarden performance, I had 2 horses on stage, which I animated over the course of 6 weeks. And then I did this little like dance performance, like almost like a circus, I guess you could say, with like trained horses. And for that, I had to like basically step up my Latin dancing a little because the song was like, yeah, very much like evolving around that. And so were the movements of the horses. It probably sounds a bit wacky just like talking about it. But that's a great example as well. I started with a thought like, man, there's this like really cool event hall and I really want to be a part of it, but I want to do like something really, really cool, like really cool. And I love horses. So in case you didn't notice on my logo, horses are literally everywhere I go. So I thought like, oh man, it would be kind of cool to like have a horse dressage, and that also has a bit like of a background because I used to have a horse and I did like a lot of like tricks with him and stuff like that because he couldn't be ridden for the longest time. So I was literally like, oh man, imagine having like a horse dressage in VR. That would be so cool. Well, what do I need for that? Well, I need horse assets. I need to learn how to animate them, and to like, yeah, I mean, I kind of need to learn everything. And it took me 6 weeks, but it was so worth it.
Oh, so what is Evergarden and how did you get involved with them for those who may not know what Evergarden is?
Oh boy, I hope I get that together right. Key, I'm so sorry if I balk this. Key is the owner or founder. So Evergarden is an event hall made by New Eden, who are like known for their avatars and worlds mainly. And I would say the idea of Evergarden is to just step up the experience of putting on a show in VRChat. So it's not just you walk in and then you just kind of like scramble somewhere where you can see something and just watch. You come in. And the doors are still closed and you're being greeted by the cherubs who will like take photos with you and they will like explain everything to you, and then they will help you make your way to the actual event hall, where then the performers are being introduced. You have a host, and the performances themselves are just so incredibly like big and like well prepared. The shows are only once a month, and we do have practice sessions every week, twice a week, where we give feedback to each other and we work on our performances and such. So there's just so much effort going, and you have like whole worlds spawn in when people perform, or like, you know, they do cool stuff with particles and all kinds of other things. And yeah, if you want to get involved, at time, applications for performers are actually open right now on the Discord. And I think they're gonna look into it soon. But yeah.
Oh wow! So, from being with Evergarden, how was the experience similar or different from what you're used to when you first started getting to dancing? What you knew before getting into VRChat? Is there anything identical between the two worlds, or are they vastly different?
That's a good question. Well, if I compare like Evergarden to what I knew before of VRChat, it was kind of like a weird awakening moment, I guess you could say, because you know, while making my way through VRChat, like hopping through worlds, seeing events, I always ended up thinking like, yeah, this is really cool, but man, imagine what else you could do. So that was kind of how I would like walk through VRChat. And I remember then being introduced to Evergarden for the very first time. I think I saw just like a trailer teaser video, and I was thinking like, oh, that looks sick, damn. And then I actually made it into a show, which is like, this fills up so freaking quickly. Like you click on the like instance, and it's like, oh, better go in there quickly, and it's full before you know it. It's crazy. And I remember being there. And I could barely be held on my seat. Like, it reminded me of going to a musical, like to the Lion King musical or something. It was like so cool, so immersive, so creative. It really pushed the boundaries for me. So I applied, and I got invited to an interview. And during that interview, I noticed even more like, ooh, yeah, that's kind of like what I always wanted to try and do. That's awesome.
Oh. Well, thank you very much for explaining those things. I'm going to do a bit of a whiplash, kind of veering back another way to something that you mentioned earlier. You mentioned shortly after DJing and doing the club scene, you started producing your own music. What made you want to get involved in that aspect of the audio production and stuff of that nature?
Well, it wasn't shortly exactly. It was like a month or two ago, and I started DJing like 3 years ago.
Oh wow!
So it was a big time spent in between, and I did the VJing thing in between as well. So there's quite some time in between. But yeah, what made me do that was kind of just like asking myself, like, okay, what else can I do? And I'm not saying that in terms of like, oh, I mastered DJing. No, I'm so great now. Fuck no. But it was just like me, like constantly like being curious. Like, I was always thinking about this whole thing, like, oh man, making my own music, that would be kind of cool. But I was always too intimidated by it because, you know, just like with DJing, what did I do? YouTube, how to make music, and oh, that was one hell of a rabbit hole. Like, there was so much to learn, like starting with the software, you know, you can get, again, equipment for it. Oh my God, I was just completely overwhelmed. Like, it wasn't as straightforward as DJing from the way I perceived it, at least. But then one day, I saw a video by Res, who is a very famous bass DJ and producer, the one with the spiral glasses, if that rings a bell to you. And she made a video talking about her newest track, and she just did this like very like simple breakdown of her track, Can You See Me? And the way she talked about it, she was just kind of like sitting in her shed, because she produces her music literally in a shed in her garden, which is the coolest thing to me. I love that. And the way she talked about her music was just so laid back. She was just like kind of there like, yeah, I like this kick. And like, you know, I used a different kick here because I felt like that just fit better. Like, I like this feeling of like this one that I used, and it was so laid back and like chill. And I remember one thing she said in particular, which was, you just gotta find sounds you like. And I was here like, huh, yeah, you know, if I like break it down, yeah, you find sounds you like, and then you put them together to your liking and edit them and stuff like that, and boom, song. So I was here like, okay, maybe I can do that, maybe. So I grabbed me the trial of Ableton, which is the music production software I use, and I was like, okay, find sounds you like, put them together, gotcha. First song done. The TLDR. So I will forever be thankful that Russ made that video because, after I made that, I kept like learning and I kept watching tutorials. I got such a long playlist of music production tutorials. Oh God. And it's less scary now because, it just showed me, okay, you don't have to know everything right from the start. And I think that is something that you can apply to like anything you attempt. You don't need to know everything, but you gotta start.
Some of the advice we've heard before, sometimes the hardest thing to do is begin.
Yes, 100%. With like everything. Oh boy. Like the most classic thing I can think of is because for a while I was really like grinding the DJ game, quote unquote. I remember a time where I would play like on the weekends would play like 3, 4, sometimes 5 sets a night because I was just like, yes, I'll take all of it, thank you very much. So I would occasionally get fellow VR DJs who approach me and say, Anks, how do I get sets? You seem to play all the time everywhere. I don't know, how do you do that? And I would always be like, well, I asked them whether I can play for the club. And then people are always kind of confused for some reason, because they don't want to put themselves out there, or they think they're not good enough, or all these like doubts. And man, I can't even put it into words properly, but just stop like thinking and just like start doing, little less planning, a little less talking, more doing. And I'm not saying you shouldn't like plan things out at all, but I think sometimes people just overthink things a little, and I can vouch for that because I'm really good at overthinking. But sometimes, and that's something I learned particularly when I picked up singing lately, sometimes you just gotta go, all right, well, what's the worst thing that can happen? People can laugh at you for something, someone can say, no, you can't play at my club. That's not too scary.
Well, one of the things you mentioned of telling other DJs to like just reach out and talk to clubs. I don't do clubs, but I reach out for interviews, and one thing I've learned is people are very, very friendly, and we're more than willing here in VRChat to talk with you. And your reach out more than likely will go a lot better than you think it does. And worst comes to worst, they'll say no or not say anything, which is worst case scenario most of the time. You either get ignored and say, sorry, we're full up, maybe another day. So just reaching out is the best thing you could do. And if someone says no, reach out again and again. There's lots of VRChat club and venues here, lots of people all over the place for you to try.
Absolutely. Yeah, I also noticed one thing, because, for example, I played Sly Fest, which is like a really cool experience, and I was VJing for Schism, which is also considered a big name at this point. So I would sometimes get responses like, oh, I don't know, like these like high class clubs, I don't know whether I can apply there. I don't know whether I should do that, or that people would say like, oh, I really want to play for Sanctum or Shelter, but I don't know. What are they gonna do? They can say no and they can not respond at all. Yeah, I wanted to play Shelter too, and nobody responded to me. All right, whatever. I'll just go to the next club then. I think people are getting intimidated by the big names too easily. How did I get to play Sly Fest? I sent them an email saying, hi, I'm Anks. Here's my mix. I want to play Sly Fest. You can do with that what you will. So I think, just don't. There's nothing to be scared of. Just go for it. And if you weren't good enough this year, then maybe you'll be good enough next year. Just don't be scared. Don't hold back. Life is too short to hold back or to be scared of things. Just go for it. Just do it.
Just do it.
It's such an old meme at this point, but it is so true. It is ridiculously close to the truth.
So now that you mentioned it, what was playing Sly Fest like? I went to, was it last year's Raptor and I popped by before, and it was very brief, but it looked wild and beyond what I thought a VRChat event like that would be like. What was it like from your end?
Oh, very exciting. I think I played, what was it, 2 years ago, 1.5 years. Oh, I don't really have the timeline down anymore, but it was a little while ago for sure. And I would say that was like my first interaction with a really like huge event, as in like several instances, big team behind it and all of that. So I was incredibly nervous, like instances constantly like maxed out and all of it. I was so nervous, and because I was a bit stupid, I thought, well, it's Sly Fest, so I'm gonna do something really cool. I decided to DJ and VJ simultaneously. So I had two controllers in front of me. My computer was absolutely dying doing that. And I would mix the music and then prepare the visuals on the other side. I don't know why I did that. I think I just wanted to be extra. I wouldn't do that nowadays anymore. So that did not help with my nerves like at all. But it was a great experience just like to see what's possible as well, and like to see like a little bit of like how the planning goes. Like we did these like pre-interviews and everything. That was really cool because I love seeing people who take VRChat as a platform, or like as a toolbox, I guess you could say, and they take it and do cool shit with it. Like Sly Fest or Light Dimension is another example. I don't know whether you've heard of them. They do like their Sunday events. And Leslie does a fantastic job with that, to just like gather people in instance, and everyone is just quiet and watching and experiencing, and stuff like that is fascinating to me. Like, I was so happy when I got to play at Light Dimension. That was definitely like an experience, like one of the most amazing ones, I want to say, because just like seeing how people come together and they just enjoy what is happening and unfolding in front of them. And I love when people do that with VRChat, because it's so much more than just a platform where you can be an ego and you can like show off your fist bones and stuff. I love VRChat for that you can just do so much cool stuff.
There is a lot of people doing cool stuff. Like within the realm of what you do with DJing and music, we had the chance of meeting Apple and Adidas, who's doing a hologram system, which you could see similar into worlds like Moonpool. I don't know if their hologram world is out in the public yet, but it was a really cool experience if you've ever been to Moonpool at least. It's a fantastic experience as well, where particles are making shapes of what the VJ creates. It's mind-blowing a lot of time what
I
people are
love
doing.
that so much. That's just, yeah, I love seeing stuff like that happen. I just love it.
So how was Sly Fest? Was the experience of Sly Fest applying and playing it different from the other VRChat rave experience for you, or was it a little different?
I mean, getting like into Sly Fest, ultimately, I did the same thing as usual. I found out how to apply. Sometimes you have someone on Discord you got a text, sometimes it's a Google form that you fill in. And I think for Sly Fest, I just had to send an email. So ultimately, the process was the exact same. Send an email, get a mix that you're proud of, send it off, and then cross your fingers and hope for the best. Ultimately, same thing.
Okay. So was the experience of playing your set at Sly Fest the same then as you would like at DDVR and any of the other venues here in VRChat?
No, that was very different. So when I played Sly Fest, well, first of all, I'm not doing visuals and DJing at the same time. Never again. Frick no. Well, actually, I think I did that once again after, but again, nothing I would do. Nah, too stressful. No thanks. It's cool, but oh god. But yeah, the experience of playing itself, that was definitely very different. So if I think back to my first DDVR set, or my first sets in general, like, far before Sly Fest, those were sets that I would like plan through, because I wanted it to be as good as possible. And then I strayed away from that very quickly, to the point where I would sometimes get messages from other DJs who play like after me or before me. It's like, Anks, what vibe are you going for? And I just go, I don't know, ask me 10 minutes before I start. Because unless I'm being told we need like a genre for this theme, for this event, I just decide on the run. And it's like, all right, folks, what are we doing today? I don't know. Just go for it. And then Sly Fest came back, and I was still like, okay, well, Anks, you can't do that for Sly Fest. So that was kind of like took me back to my beginnings, where I planned everything through song by song, and I practiced the set beforehand, and then I practiced it with visuals. At that point, I could have recorded it, but nah. I was like, I'm gonna do that live. My God, I don't know why I put so much stress on me. So yeah, the pressure was just a lot higher, I'd say. The pressure I applied to myself, because of the sheer dimension of this whole event, which was definitely a nice learning experience as well.
So what kinds of things did you learn from that experience, as well as was the effort you put into your set worth it?
Yeah, I was pretty proud of that set, to be honest. I would say the effort was worth it. What I learned from it was, putting extra effort into certain things is fine and appreciated, and you should absolutely do that. Don't just like slack off, but don't overdo it. Maybe you don't have to DJ and do visuals at the same time. So that's definitely like a huge learning point. It's like, okay, a huge event is fine and like cool and planning stuff, like planning special stuff for that. That's cool too. And especially at Sly Fest, I kind of wanted to like cover all my bases. So I think, what did I have in there? Latin for sure. I think I had like a dubstep track somewhere in there as well, just for the sake of yeah, look, I can do all these things. Maybe take away the pressure a little from yourself, Of course, always push yourself to do cool stuff, but don't freak out over it, because I was freaking out.
So was the crowd at Sly Fest any different than like your average VRChat club?
Yeah, the crowd was crazy. First of all, it was packed, which is something I got very rarely at that point. So that was pretty crazy. But they were also like super supportive. Obviously couldn't show a lot of avatars, but people went absolutely ham. So that was really, really, really cool to see. I'm not saying that wouldn't happen at other clubs too, but seeing a full instance do that, that was something else. Although I do have to say, like, it's still not the most memorable crowd. Like, it was really awesome. But I remember one set that I played, and now I'm just like straying off from the original question. Yay me!
Oh
I
no,
remember
how
one set I played. That was at Fishbowl. Oh no, how dare I! But I remember one set I played at Fishbowl, and I don't know what happened there. First of all, it was pretty full, which Fishbowl I experienced always to be like pretty filled up pretty quickly. It's a really nice club as well. And I finished my set, and people were like throwing snowflakes, which is always amazing. But they were also audibly clapping, like they were smacking their controllers together. I never had someone audibly applaud for a DJ set from me before. I was absolutely flabbergasted. I have no idea how that happened, but yeah, that was absolutely crazy. But yes, Sly Fest was a really good crowd as well. So yeah, I kind of strayed away from that.
No, that's good.
It's always nice to see like people dance and stuff and just have a good time and not turn their back on you and just like talk, or lately have a chat box above their head that basically goes, I'm not listening to your music.
Well, first of all, never apologize for going on rants, tangents, or anything like that. Rapper and I both very much enjoy listening to them because that's how we learn things we wouldn't know. Like, I never DJ'd or played at Sly Fest, so how was I to know? I've never played at Fishbowl, so I appreciate everything you share, so don't apologize for that.
Okay.
Now, another question I have as well is, since we've talked a little bit, what do you plan on doing with your music production now that you're a month into it? Do you have any plans? Do you can release any albums or songs or anything? What are your thoughts?
Well, at the moment, my plan is just kind of to just keep doing it. So originally, my plan was to put out one thing a week. I broke that last week. And I haven't put something out this week yet, but I plan to still. But by that, I don't mean an original song each week. My plan is to have either a cover, like a singing cover, or a song every week. And basically, what I'm trying to get with that is I just want to find out, first of all, what music do I want to make at all. So basically every song I tried doing something new. So for my first song, it was obviously just like, "Whoa, what am I doing?" It was just finding out how do you do anything here. And then the first song had this like it's called Wonder. It has this like very dreamy vibe. A lot of people told me a lot of, you do anything here. Every time I ask someone what genre is this, I get a different answer, which is also very interesting. And then the second one, which is called Horse Girl, it's like really this like really bassy, like eerie, little bit creepy vibe. The third one, 2 AM Train, went back to this like dreamy direction, but like a bit melancholic. I worked a lot with like atmosphere sounds on that. So basically, what I'm trying to find out by like branching out in these different directions is, what music do I want to make? What am I hopefully good at? I kind of want to like find the part that covers both bases. I want to do stuff that I love doing, but I also want to do stuff that sounds good. and yeah, that's kind of like my plan. That I just wiggle my way through the jungle of like different genres and samples and whatever, and to just try to find out like what kind of music artist do I want to be? Because I don't know right now. I'm just having fun doing all of this.
Well,
And I hope that, in a few months or weeks or whatever, that I will know, okay, Anks is producing this genre. And honestly, if the resolution is same as it is for DJing, which is Anks just DJs whatever she likes, if the resolution ends up being Anks just produces whatever she likes, then I'm also perfectly fine with that.
I think your music is very good. The first one I caught from you was your cover of Toss a Coin to Your Witcher, which is the first song I heard
Oh, thank you.
you play, and I thought it was great. It was a very nice cover. You did amazingly, by the way, with that.
I gotta say though, on the covers I only do the singing. The instrumentals are not from me. They're always linked in the description. They're like from really talented artists who just put them out for free, and they go, "Yeah, you can make a cover with that." For any song that I couldn't find an instrument for, I found this really talented guitarist who records stuff for me when I ask him to. So I still can't play an instrument properly. So my instrument is my USB drive. So I gotta add that. I can't take credit for that part, but I'm glad you enjoyed it.
I did very much enjoy it. You did a great job. Well, so far with all the genres you've played and sung, is there any genres you like so far along your travels?
Except for pretty much all of them. But I noticed like one thing that covers both the DJing and the producing side is like anything that goes into this direction of like future bass and stuff like Odessa, Glitch Mob are two artists I very much look up to. Which you can very much hear in Wonder and 2 AM Train. And it was also a genre that I played at Light Dimension. It's very emotional. It has like very hard hitting drops. There we go. That's what I meant to say. And it really like when I listen to future bass, it like really takes me away to like dream or like I don't know, dive in memories and stuff like that. So I really like this idea. As much as I love dancing, I also like this idea of telling a certain story with music on both DJing and producing. And I think that might be why I keep like moving in that direction when producing. Because what I noticed about my producing progress now that I have 3 songs under my belt and I work on another one at the moment, what I notice is I sit down, I go, okay, Anks, I'm gonna produce a song now. And then I start with the idea of, I want it to be this genre. Like I got 2 attempts down to make a dubstep song, like a proper like hard-hitting dubstep song. Didn't work yet. So, I set my BPM and I go like, okay, so like a dubstep song would be like 145 BPM or something. I needed like hard-hitting kick, and then I start putting it together. And then very quickly, it just happens that I have this like idea of, okay, but what kind of like emotion do I want to transport? And then the song very quickly just kind of goes, yeah, now we're not doing the dubstep thing, we're doing something else now. Like I can't even describe it. It's not that I like sit down and I talk to my computer while I produce. It's just, I go through like sounds, I tap around on my little like keyboard controller to see what sounds good, and very quickly it just happens that the song just goes in a completely different direction than I wanted to, which is fascinating to experience and to witness. Like I remember one time when I made Horse Girl, for example, I remember sending the unfinished song to a friend of mine and going, so this was supposed to be a dubstep song, but the song didn't want to. And that literally, it sums it up so well for me that it just happens, and it just kind of like comes together in a different way, and then it either sounds right or it doesn't. And if it doesn't sound right, I just keep shifting things around. I keep editing stuff. And by now, what I'm also noticing is that, so for 2 AM Train, for example, I started with the idea of the emotion I want to transport. So I didn't start with, okay, so this song is going to be like this genre at this BPM. I asked myself, okay, what memory am I like putting into this song? What am I trying to like work through like of my inner feelings? And that's how that song happened, which is like, I probably sound like I'm on shrooms right now. But that's literally how that happened.
It's A-okay. I think it's immensely fascinating. And I do kind of agree. It is interesting that sometimes when you start something, you end up somewhere else completely. But isn't that half the fun sometimes when you're going on a journey to become something? It's like, oh, I'm going to do this thing. Just kidding. We're over here. That's part of the adventure, I think. Anyway.
And so I'm like,
Hey, we're interrupting your current podcast watching to actually ask you a favor. Would you like to join us at any of the other locations other than YouTube to follow us, which is like Discord, where we do things all the time, hang out, play games. There are memes and stuff being posted somewhere. There's some duck references. We have a Patreon you can also follow, which we do a whole other show outside of Metaverse Degen as a thank you for those who signed up, like Niche, Forbidden Zero, and Aliquum, as an example. The name should be here for you as well. Or the Twitter, which currently it's under my name, which is LionTurtle21. You can find that. I post things, random bullshit. You get updates, or me being with the community, whatever. You can find all of this and more over at metaversedegen.card.co. All right, I think I got everything. I didn't mess it up this time.
Yeah, but, okay, you should don't, oh my god, I'm gonna drown myself.
Already, we want to jump through video watching any further. Have a good one.
Honestly, 100%. Even with DJing, sometimes I start a set and I go, okay, this is gonna be a house set, and then like 20 minutes in, we're at hardstyle. It happens so many times, and even like sometimes it helps me a little when the host of an event tells me, okay, this event is I don't know, a techno event. We need a techno set for that. So I start myself like, okay, techno. And then I chat away with like people on Twitch, or I joke around with people in the world to the extent that I can. And then someone redeems Electro Swing because I forgot to turn it off. Oh, right, techno. Whoops. But yeah, it is fun. I don't know how fun the hosts think it is. Like, I don't know whether they're like standing in the back like, oh, what is she doing? But I mean, I'm having fun. And so far, everyone who listened hopefully also had fun.
Well, if you enjoy what you do, you never work a day in your life. And it seems like you enjoy everything that you do.
Very much so. I love that. Honestly, I do hope to do this music thing full time one day. I don't know in what extent. I don't know where it's gonna go, whether I'm gonna be a producer or a DJ or a singer or none of that. But I'm having a time of my life with this. I love anything music related so much.
Well, it definitely shows in your work as well when you go through, look at your sets or the music you produce or the music videos you make. It definitely shows you're enjoying what you're doing.
Thank you so much. Oh, that makes me very happy to hear. Because ultimately, I just want people to like enjoy what they see or hear. And one thing I also kind of hope for is that it maybe occasionally inspires something, to do something similar. For example, when someone asks me, oh, I don't know, this like DJ thing, I don't know whether I should like do that. I was like, yeah, do it. Just start. And if you find out that you don't like it, cool, you learned something from it. Awesome. And I had the very same experience, funnily enough, when I started singing, because I don't even know how that happened. I've been singing my entire life, really, but always like really, really quietly so nobody hears me. Because I was always too scared of it. Like my entire life I spent singing just for myself, and the moment I heard like a noise from another room, I'd be like, "Can you be quiet?" And then one day it just kind of hit me like, okay, Anks, you can spend the rest of your life now being scared of that, or you can just not be scared and just go, okay, fuck that, I'm gonna just do that now, and if it's shit, that's fine, at least I tried, because I knew how much I enjoyed singing, when no one was around. So I was like, man, that's another thing I would like to share with people. I like sharing things that I enjoy with others and just be like, this was fun, I'm gonna share it with you. Like if you share happiness and joy, it doubles, in my opinion. So and yeah, that's how that happened. That I started practicing singing and did like daily warm-ups and trainings, and again, YouTube, how to sing, how to expand your vocal range, literally same thing again. And then eventually I felt like, okay, I'm gonna record my very first cover, which was Dandelions. And then I was like, okay, well, people actually kind of like that, yeah. So, that was already a big step for me. But then I was like, well, I like streaming. I want to stream how I sing because I have so much fun doing that. So maybe other people have fun. The very first stream was an absolute disaster. I was near having a panic attack, like live on stream. The singing was awful. Like I didn't hit a single note. But I did it. Like, at least I tried. And I'm doing it to this day. Like on Sundays we do singing practice and people seem to enjoy it still because they stuck around. And I gotta that's for my community really quick. That first stream was so god awful. How on earth did you guys listen to that without having your ears like bleed? Wow, thank you so much. Because the amazing thing that happened was I was on stream and I said, okay guys, we're gonna sing this song now. Because you kind of need oxygen to sing, and I didn't have any of it. But people were there like, no, Anks, it's gonna be fine. And then like people like encouraged me, and they said like, no, start with the song that you already recorded. Start with Dandelions. It's gonna be fine. Instead of going like, bullshit, embarrassing, wow, yeah, Anks, you're cool, why we don't do the singing thing. No, people like encouraged me, and I'm so forever thankful for that because the internet is a harsh place, so everyone could have just gone, yeah, whatever, we'll be back when you DJ again. But no, they stuck around, which is just like, God, it warms my heart just thinking back to that, how I was at such a low point live on camera, and people went, no, you're fine, you got this.
So, with that, I would like to ask, camera work for me, please? Oh, it doesn't want to work. But I guess I ask it off camera, no big deal. So, how many positive experiences or memories do you have from VRChat?
Definitely more than negative ones. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here anymore. Yeah, honestly, like, I met a lot of like, people obviously where you're like, I don't really need that, but then I just move on from that. It's okay. But this like the single amount of like experiences that I had, the stuff that I learned, like before VRChat, I didn't know how to DJ or how to produce music. I wasn't singing loudly, being like whatever. I didn't know how to use Blender. I have like 1,500 hours of Blender now. I can't tell that anyone. I didn't know how to use Unity, how to animate horses. Like simply for the amount of stuff that I learned, the amount of stuff that I like just got inspired to do because I was like, let's try that. That sounds like fun. Yeah. What was the question? Definitely more positive experience than negative ones.
Well,
let alone for finding out what people can do and like just seeing people inspire each other and constantly pushing boundaries. I
want to ask you a tough question out there. I feel like it's going to be a tough one for you. Which of your experiences, what was your favorite?
That is a tough question. I don't think I can rank them that easily because a lot of them are so different from one another, Like one would definitely be that time at Fishbowl where I got audible applause for something. Another thing would be oh my god, that was actually also at Fishbowl. So on that day of my set, I posted on Twitter about an avatar that I found really cute, which was a furry avatar in a cardboard proto-gen costume, and I thought it was so adorable. So I think I just retweeted that from the original like avatar creator. It was literally just this furry in a proto-gen like cardboard outfit, and it had like toggles to draw like different facial expressions on the cardboard. It was so cute. So then the evening rolls by, and I play my set, and I look up, and all of a sudden the dance floor is filled with this avatar. I still have a photo of that. So the avatar was not supposed to be public, and it was taken down the next day because the creator saw it on Twitter and loved it, but also said like, actually that's not supposed to be public. I was just like, oh, I don't know where it came from, but it got taken down the next day. So sorry about that. But just like seeing that, just look, I was like, oh my God, I think I cried a little actually. That was so cute. Or another thing would be literally every Evergarden show, see how it comes together, what this whole team worked for through the entire month and through all the practices. Sly Fest was another one. or the VJing for Schism. That was also a freaking fantastic experience, simply because I could again take visuals from having it on a screen that's like 19:6 or whatever the ratio is, and apply it to something entirely new and like craft a whole new experience on the visual end. There's just too many good experiences. And Light Dimension, absolutely Light Dimension. That was my god, that was something else as well. And I'm probably a few missing still here, but yeah, it's just so much cool stuff that you can do here.
I'm honestly quite impressed with how much you've gone to learn to do since you've gone into VRChat, hearing all about it. I don't even know how you manage it all, to be quite honest with you. I got my own little niche stuff, and everything you're up to, just kind of, how do you keep up with everything?
Excellent question. I don't know either. I mean, I would love to do more even. I would love to make, like, for example, public avatars, because I enjoy making avatars so much, and I edit my own. Like, I got so many versions of myself. It's absolutely crazy. But at that point, even I had to accept, okay, my day also only has 24 hours, and I should spend a good chunk of it sleeping and paying my rent. But yeah, I'm not very good at planning things, not gonna lie. It got a little bit better when I decided I'd do this whole schedule of like, okay, I'm gonna work on one thing a week. I don't even know, man. I don't even know. I just like find something, and then I just get hyper focused on it. And in case you're wondering, yeah, it is probably the ADHD as well. Yeah, I don't even know. I think it's just a lot of passion, and a lot of like gremlin energy. Just be like, oh wow, look at all these cool things. Oh.
When you first got into VRChat, did you expect to be involved, or did you know you'd be involved as much as you are now? Whereas it's like, let's go on an adventure. Now you're on this side of your journey.
Not at all. Like, even when I started DJing, I like would have never thought it like gets to this point, like now sitting here and like actually recapping all of it, I'm actually just starting to think like, oh damn, I did a lot of stuff. Like, no, I never, honestly, even if you look at the singing, never in my life would I have thought, like, if you told me that even just like 6 months ago, like, Anks, you're gonna be like on stream and you're gonna be singing for like 40, 50 people on a good day, I'd be like, yeah, sure. Or oh, and see, that's a point I didn't even get to. I was DJing IRL as well for
Wow.
like 2, 3 events. They're all, yeah, I think it was 3 in total, all organized by VRChat communities. And even that, if you told me that like a few years back, I'll be like, sure. That was okay. I gotta bring up that up really quick as well. That was.
Tell us all about it.
No, sorry, go ahead.
Tell us all about all
I
these
will.
bits.
I absolutely will. That was, my God, that was another crazy experience. Was it? Yeah, I think it was 2 times for the IRL event by Club Reality, which was called 4 Seasons, and then for Fishbowl's first IRL event. And that was crazy. I can't even put it into words differently. So the very first time, that was already like a whole experience on its own, I think I was like somewhat like new-ish then still, I think. I can't even put the timeline together properly anymore. But at that point, it was mainly just, oh my God, DJing live, oh God. And it ended up being amazing. Like, I remember thinking like that was so cool. Like, it was so different from VR. It was just cool on a different level. And then another like very memorable one was definitely the Fishbowl event, because I guess in the time in between that very first like Club Reality event and then the Fishbowl IRL event, Costa del Fishbowl is what they called it. That was in Belgium, Netherlands, right? And I think I just I grew my audience a little in between those, because and that absolutely blew my mind. I'd have people come up to me, face to face, be like, Anks, oh my God, it's you. Like, what do you mean it's me? which was just like, it was so crazy to me. Just like, obviously, in VR, you also talk face to face to people, like we do right now. But it's just a whole different experience when someone walks up to you and like stands in front of you and goes, "I'm listening to his heads. I love them. Like they make my day. I'm having so much fun with that." I just be like, "Oh, boo, what?" Like that was, and it made me so happy because ultimately, it confirmed this whole mission of, making sure people have a good time and making people happy. And all of a sudden, you have faces to those people who say that and who enjoy themselves in VR. That was so crazy to me, and it was also a bit intimidating because of the sheer amount of people that were there. Like I remember one particular situation. I don't know how exactly that happened, but basically on the day before the event, we wanted to meet up with Unity, the owner of Fishbowl, and then the other DJs, for a little sound check. So I texted them like, "Yeah, we're on our way," and I went there with my best friend. And the thing is, when I'm out DJing, I always wear a face mask. I don't like showing my face. So, we walk there and it's like, oh yeah, it should be like around the corner. And I expect like 6 people. So I wasn't wearing a mask or anything. I was like, whatever. So I turn around the corner and there's a group of like 30 people all turn around to stare at us. Complete silence. I was just like, man, I wish I could play Space Into the Ground right now. And I don't know whether it was because we were running a few minutes late. I don't know whether it was like whether they were like, oh, who the fuck is that? Or oh, there she is finally late. Or it was like, hang on, is that Anks? Because I don't show myself that much. But I was just like, oh boy. That was absolutely oh my god. But yeah, the actual set was that was so fantastic, just seeing like people have a great time and like actually reacting to what you're doing. I can't even put it into words. I love that so much. And meeting the other DJs and all that was so fantastic. And that was actually when I gave my first autograph. That was also a whole new experience.
Oh, I do have a question for you now that you mentioned the cost of the fishbowl. We actually talked to Trinity a while back, and he did mention that he was organizing real-life events. And my question for you is, what was the VR comparison of VR fishbowl versus IRL fishbowl? Were the two experiences between the fishbowl the same, or did they feel very different in comparison to each other?
I think, like, in general, comparing a VR event to an IRL event, I don't think you can even do that, to be honest. It was equally well organized. Like, one thing I can always rely on with Fishbowl is, that I'm gonna know who's my host and where do I have to be, what time, and stuff like that. And they reach out to you beforehand, which is much appreciated. And you could tell that Unity put a lot of effort into planning that. He rented out an actual club, and got all the like drinks organized. I think it was like you paid for your ticket and it was a bit more pricey, but then the drinks were free, quote unquote. He had like little like fishbowl coasters, which was absolutely amazing. So I think if I'd have to compare them, like to save my life, equally well organized. But apart from that, such different experiences, like I can't even.
Oh, well, it's actually really good to hear that because I remember him talking about it and telling us what his plans were for that and what he wanted to do. But it's actually awesome to hear it from the other side as well. So thank you.
Yeah, we're most welcome. Yeah, like I could say as much as I can about like such events, but I don't know how to plan something like that. Like props to Unity for doing all that. I know he was really stressed out before, but he did a really good job on it.
I'm sure in Tunity's shoes, the planning is stressful, but afterwards, when the event is going on, and you take a step back and you look at what you've organized and created, I'm sure it's a really, really fulfilling feeling to see everyone enjoying themselves.
I sure hope it is.
So another question for you is, since you've done both some IRL sets and VR sets, which do you prefer and why?
For a little while, I actually wanted to branch out into the IRL stuff more, and I talked to 10x, 10xx about it. He's a really, really fantastic drum and bass DJ who was also at Costa the Fishbowl, and I actually asked him on like some advice. So if you want another good guest, 10xx is definitely a good one. And for a while, I really like wanted to branch out to like actually doing stuff IRL. But then I noticed really quickly that, as much as I loved the experience of like meeting people and such, that I enjoy the freedom that I have in VR a little too much. So I know a lot of VR DJs whose like ultimate goal it is, IRL, like playing events, clubs, festivals, I don't know what. But I gotta say, I'm very happy with just having my main playground here and having IRL appearances as like a special thing, literally for the community. Just like it was with the events that I played so far. Simply because I enjoy the portion that doesn't have anything to do with DJing, but that comes with VR stuff. I enjoy that way too much. Making avatars and like finding worlds, and then all the other stuff you can do in VR as well. Like I actually, I toned down the DJing a little to do all these other things as well that I enjoy so much. Avatars and production and singing. So yeah, I'm really happy to just like be a cat on the internet.
Okay. So of all the things you've been up to over the years, what drives you and why do you stay in VR?
What drives me? Still to just make people happy and to maybe inspire them one day. What keeps me in VR? Just the sheer freedom I have in here. So, okay, let's try and do the first one first, like what drives me. So what I always think back to is the moment when I watched Rez's video, and I felt inspired to be like, okay, I can make music. Yeah, I can do that too. And I hope that one day, or like whenever I get a chance, that I can give other people the same feeling. It actually, something like that actually happened, I think, a week or two ago when I was doing my singing stream on Sunday. Because the topic actually came up because someone said in chat, oh, man, I like singing, but I'm not very good at it. And I said, well, that doesn't matter. Just have fun doing it. Just pick it up and then see where it goes. And then, I was singing the next song and I think another one. And then that person put in chat again and said, oh, yeah, sorry, I was AFK. I was just singing a little and that was actually really fun. And I was just like, yes, you can do it. And like, just like having stuff like that happen, that genuinely makes me so happy because I know what it's like to be held back by yourself, because you think you're not going to be good enough. You're gonna fail. People are gonna make fun of you. I know exactly what I like, and it sucks. It really sucks. But one thing I did learn is I think we all just kind of have to like. It's probably gonna sound a bit weird, but I'm gonna try and word it nicely. I think we all. It would help all of us if we just, kind of like let go of this concept of failure. Like, yeah, you can fail, but what does that mean? You didn't achieve the outcome that you hoped for. So if I go back to like the singing stream, what could have happened? I could have completely like borked it, and then people could have said, Anks, we support you, but maybe don't do the singing. And then I'd be here like, okay, I can keep practicing, I can drop it entirely, but I tried. Nobody can say I never tried it. Like, yeah, what's the worst that can happen? Yeah, you can, fuck up, and then someone will go like, that was stupid, you made a fool of yourself. And then you can point back at them and go like, yeah, but I at least tried it. And I think I like just knowing that I had this barrier for so long, I just wish I could like help more people to like overcome that. Because I think a lot of people, like, that's just me like assuming things from like what I've heard, what I've experienced, from what people told me. I feel like a lot of people struggle literally just with this whole like, oh, what if people make fun of me, and they let these things hold themselves back. But life can be so much nicer and like so much more enjoyable if you don't let that happen to you. We all live in a really like God damn it, what's the word? Privileged. Oh, English is hard, but you know what I mean, right? Yeah. Yes. We all live in a very privileged spot, otherwise we wouldn't be like in VR right now. Like, this is pretty freaking privileged.
I would agree.
So yeah, what is it to be scared of? To get cancelled on Twitter, to attempt something you're passionate about? Oh no. So yeah, I wish, I could help like more people like overcome stuff like that. To just be there like, all right, I'm gonna try this, and if it goes to shit, well, then I at least tried it. And what kept me in VR, just yeah, being able to do all of that and to attempt these things that I otherwise would have never attempted. It starts with DJing. Would I have ever gone out to a club and be like, hey, I never DJed before, but I would really like to try it? They would have laughed at me and then were like, yeah, whatever, child, leave. And in VR, it's so much easier to get into that. Same with VJing. I wouldn't know how to get started on that. Where do I even find someone who runs a screen big enough to need a VJ? And yeah, with dancing as well, as much as I love dancing as a child and all that, I'm not sure whether I would do it like IRL on a stage because I'm self-conscious about my own body, for example, or because I can't like pull off outfits and effects like I do here. And ultimately, it now ends with the singing. Where and this is going to sound a bit stupid, but I have avatars particularly for singing that have big like gowns on and like beautiful dresses because it makes me feel better about myself and then I sing better. Like literally whenever I practice my singing, I always go in VR to sing. And I'm in I got like 2 or 3 worlds which are like big operas or theaters. So I stand on stage in a beautiful outfit in VR because it makes me feel like I can sing better. And then actually the recordings do turn out better. And it sounds so stupid, but it works for me. So yeah, a lot of wonderful things kept me in VR. And I hope I can inspire people to do wonderful things as well and to find what they're passionate about.
Well, thank you very much. And last couple of questions before we wrap up. I'm going to say 2, but it's actually going to be 3. One is, where did you get the name
I don't want to
Anks
wrap
from?
up. I could talk about this forever. Sorry, can you repeat that? Now the delay, I talk over you. I'm sorry.
Don't be. It's okay. For me, you did not. But where did the name Anks come from?
Oh my God. Oh, once upon a time, that was before VRChat, I was just in Discord with a few IRL friends of mine, and we were just playing games, and then one of my friends just called me Anks. I don't know where she got that from. I don't know why. She just called me that. I was here like, what do you just call me Anks? I was like, yeah, I'm gonna take that, and I just renamed my Discord everything. I think did I make a new Discord for it? I don't even know. But I just renamed everything. I was like, yeah, I'll take Anks. Some people say Anks and then ask me what's correct, Anks or Anks, and you can do whatever you prefer. Just don't add anything to it. I hate it when people go Anksy and stuff like that. Oh no, don't do that. I'm genuinely gonna get mad over that. Well, yeah, one day my friend just called me that, and I took it and ran with it.
Okay. And the avatar you're in, why do you use it, and why do you continue to use it?
That's a bit of a longer story. So, oh man. So my very first avatar in VRChat was a public avatar. And I remember just hopping around with a friend being I kind of want one avatar that I kind of stick to instead of constantly I think what kind of everyone experiences at some point where they want a main avatar that represents themselves. And I found an avatar, which was just this little girl with cat ears, and she was wearing a cap. She had a yellow and a blue eye. Mine is an orange, but the idea was already there. And had this long dark blonde hair, and this kind of not gothic, but bit of a grungy street outfit. I was like, ooh, I like that. I'll take that. And then eventually I needed optimized avatars to go to events. So I was like, man. God damn it, what do I do now? So I went on Fiverr and found someone who just put something together for me for I think $30. It was a very simple avatar. I could do that myself nowadays. But one thing always stuck, always is kind of dark clothing, the 2 different eye colors. The hair got a bit darker by now because I have very dark hair IRL, so I guess that kind of just shifted into that, accidentally. And for the longest time, I was actually, believe it or not, I was a human avatar. And I always liked furry avatars, and I like seeing fursuits and stuff because it's such a cool craft to do and all that. And then one day I found what was it? The furry base by Zinpia. I think the base was called Zida. And I already got a lot better at avatar editing. So at that point I had different outfits and variations and had different hair on. So I was here oh man, I wonder whether I could just put my outfit and my hair on that and my cap with my logo and all that. I'll try that. And I remember it was around Halloween, and I loved the avatar that I had put together. Now I cringe at it a little, like I didn't do a very good job with it in my opinion, but I loved like seeing this furry version of Anks. So I was like, oh man, that's great. But I was really nervous as well because I was scared that people would go like, "Oh, she's a furry now," because I heard that a lot in VRChat. Unfortunately, I think it got a lot better now. But I was genuinely scared that people or like that my community would go like, "Oh, furry, what the fuck, Anks? You can't do that." But ironically enough, it was around Halloween. So I was just saying like, oh yeah, I made a little something. Here you go. And then I think some people actually thought it was for Halloween, but it just kind of stuck around. And people liked it. Nobody came at me for it, so I don't know what I was scared of. And yeah, so I kept that for a long time, and that like became kind of my main base where I would just like made a bunch of different outfits and hairs for. My avatars have a bigger wardrobe than me at this point. And then eventually I found the creator Foxy Paws. And if people follow my stream, they do know I'm a huge fangirl of Foxy Paws and her work. And I think I don't even remember which one was my first avatar first, but I kind of like eventually got to the point of just like getting them all and just giving them all an Anks makeover. And then eventually she put out a cat model called Kiri, which is actually the head that you see here right now. The body is a different story again. I was like, oh yeah, perfect, I love that. And then she basically put out a new cat version just a few months ago, I think, which has like, more like human hands like this, less like big paws. I was like, oh man, that's beautiful, but I love my face. So I took all my Blender skills to just kind of like chop things up and put my old head onto this base. And right now the choker is covering it, but I try to like even out the transition from the neck to the body a little. And yeah, that's how this happened. And honestly, I love my avatar.
Well, it's a really nice looking avatar, and I understand why you would use it. It sounds like you have lots of history with this avatar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It really like literally if you like, go back and look at my old avatars, you can kind of see like how it all came together. And I love like seeing this evolution of just like slightly lighter hair, like anime girl, furry, and then like more like I don't know, elaborate furry or whatever you want to call it, to now this. I love seeing how like certain elements, I think the choker as well, I think I was always wearing a choker. I love how that like certain elements just kind of stuck around.
Now, last and final question. If anyone wishes to do any of the things you do, what advice would you give them starting out?
Ooh, can I just give one advice or plenty?
Plenty. Go for it. Go ham.
Oh man, where do I even? I touched on some of it earlier already, but first of all, don't be scared. There's nothing to be scared of. Like, what is the worst that's gonna happen? Is someone gonna come to your house and like steal your computer? There might be some idiots who are gonna be like, oh, that's cringe, that's stupid. And that same idiot is probably sitting at home wishing they would do what you do. If you have a passion for something or you want to learn something, don't let people like who think it's stupid keep you from doing that. You want to learn how to DJ? Do it. It's all on YouTube. Literally, I've never talked to a DJ teacher. I never talked to a VJ teacher or to a vocal coach. You can just learn it all. It's all there. You have to find it. Sometimes it's a bit annoying to like Google for a long time, and you have to scroll past a lot of tutorials that probably aren't very good, but it's all right there. You just have to find it. So definitely like don't be scared to just like try things. Don't be scared to fail, because that's part of life. What happens when you fail? Like I said earlier, you don't have the outcome that you wanted, but you still learn something from it, and then you can do it better next time. Because and a lot of people know that quote from Far Cry 3, definition of insanity: do the same thing over and over again without changing something. You failed this time, change something up, do it again, and you're gonna learn something new again. They say, don't let anyone like keep you from doing what you love, and it's okay to be a work in progress. You're gonna put something out, it's not gonna be perfect, that's perfectly fine, because you just started. Like if I listen now to my cover from literally like 2 weeks ago, like the last one I put out was What Was I Made For by Billie Eilish. I'm cringing at it right now, and I consider taking it down because I thought it was so bad. But I learned something from it, So I leave it up. So that's definitely like the biggest part, like the sheer amount of people that I talk to who then go, I don't know, why not? Literally just, why not? What keeps you from doing that? You have a computer with internet access, otherwise we wouldn't be talking, and that's all. It's all like on a silver platter in front of you. Let's see. Another advice I would definitely give is if you want to, reach an audience, and you want to grow an audience, don't be scared to put yourself out there. There's literally a poster on that wall, and it says "We are loud," because that's what I call my community. And the reason I call it that is because people are so quiet about themselves. And they like attend events of clubs they want to play for, and then they just kind of stand in a corner and they hope to get noticed, or they upload their sets to YouTube or Mixcloud, and then just kind of like, yeah, I hope someone will notice me. They're not if you don't tell them about it. You can't play for a club, you can't VJ for a club, you can't dance at an event if people don't know you exist. And there's nothing wrong with putting yourself out there and being like, hello, I am this person and I'm doing this thing and I would like to do it for your community at your event in your club. That is something I also had to learn, because I was that person who would be like and kind of like hope to get noticed and to have this mindset of, oh, if I just work hard enough, someone will notice. Well, and if not, then you're just gonna keep working and nobody's gonna notice. So don't be scared to just reach out and be like, hi, I like what you're doing and I'm doing this thing. Wanna combine that? There's nothing wrong with that. So that's definitely another thing. Don't be like quiet about what you do. Do it and be proud of it. And if it's not up to the standard you would like to reach yet, that is fine. You can keep working on it. But even that's something you can be like loud about. Like literally on my stream, I'm always here like, oh man, I completely like borked that song when I sang it, but yay, I managed this one note that I didn't manage to do last time. So, yeah, don't be quiet, don't be scared to ask, and to like reach out. And if you encounter like entitled people who go like, oh, you're asking me this question? Oh, that's so stupid that you don't know that. Well, fuck them. You don't want them in your life. I had experiences with people who I would ask things as simple as, hey, what's this world you're in? That's really cool. I would like to visit that world. I'm not gonna tell you. Like, oh, well, fuck you then. Let's see. One other thing, and that's a bit of a harsh one. Friends are great and they're super supportive, but you have to believe in yourself. When you start out with something and you want it to go somewhere, the world's not going to believe in you. You have to believe in yourself first. And that's hard because you're there like, oh, this is scary. Is this going to be good? Am I going to like what I'm doing? Am I going to cringe at this in like 3 months? Yeah, you can't keep asking yourself those questions, or you just go like, okay, no, I believe I can do this, and I believe you can do this. This is for everyone who's watching this and who's like, I don't know. No, you can do it. You absolutely can. And even if it turns out that you can't, that's fine. But I could talk about that for hours, because I just don't like, for example, for how long I held back on things that I wanted to do, only to now find out, man, I love doing that. Why didn't I do this sooner? Yeah, no shit. And the last thing, if you're on VRChat like me, right, and you use avatars and you are in worlds and you use assets, and you didn't make all of that like from scratch, credit your creators. The amount of times I see people who like, they have an avatar or they are in a world and they just like, there's like no sign of that whatsoever, or like, worst part, you ask them and they just go, I'm not gonna tell you. If it wasn't for people like Foxy Paws, like Kura, Nessie, Vigby, who made this world, who's a fantastic world creator, Wispy Woo, Bimu, who are also fantastic world creators, I would just be like, my stream would just be the Blender like default cube. Because I don't know how to make things from scratch. I can put them together and edit them, but I don't know how to make things from scratch. And that is something I think it's really important to just remember, without all these talented people, we wouldn't be here, you know? We wouldn't be in these like cool avatars and stuff. Or most of us wouldn't be. I wouldn't be, because I can't make things from scratch. And it does not hurt to, like, I don't know, put it in your bio, hey, my avatar was made by this person. Or if you stream on Twitch, to put in your little Twitch description, my avatar was made by this person. Or to just respond to someone who asks you, hey, who made your avatar? Who made this world you're in? Credit your creators. And all, like, the majority of them are really nice. Actually, the majority, I don't think I ever had a bad experience with an avatar creator. Like, when I started, my God, this is such a ramble. When I started putting my music on Spotify, I wanted my avatar on there as well, you know, because it's just how people know me. So I reached out to the creators whose assets I used. And not a single one of them said, no, you can't do that. They were all super nice about it. They said, like, yeah, credit us and you're good to go. Bam. Okay, I think that's all. But most importantly, don't be scared.
Well, thank you so very much for sharing all of that. I'm sure there are a lot of people out there who definitely benefit from all of that. So where can any of those people...
Ramble, though.
Don't apologize for rambling. Remember what I said earlier. Never apologize for ranting or going lengthy tangents. We appreciate all of it. We will never tell you no. Oh no, you talk. We're a talk show where we ask you about yourself.
Oh,
how
no.
terrible.
What a nightmare.
So where can the audience reach out and find you if they wish to reach out and find you?
All right, so usually my handle everywhere on Twitch, Twitter, on Instagram, I keep forgetting to post, so don't bother with that, is Anks on screen. Because of Twitch's new rules, I had to move my DJ stuff from my Twitch channel to a new one, which is Anks on Dex, you know, DJ Dex. Let's see, what else have we got? On YouTube and Spotify, it's just Anks. If you want to join my DJ sets in VRChat, don't add me directly, add Anksbot. It's literally Anksbot. It's not an actual bot, it's just my laptop with a separate account. But I wanted to keep my friends list clean. Yeah, I think that's it.
Okay. Well, reach out, and before I hand it over to after close, I'm going to make a statement followed by the question for you, the audience. There's a quote that says, every long journey starts with a single step. And the thing I'm going to add to that is every journey is filled with tumbles and failures. So let us know, when's the last time you failed? What happened? Let us know on the Hoobly What's It. And Raptor, you know the thing.
I gotcha. It's been one hell of a trip today with this person and everything else like this. I'm just going to take her through the door. Over there, to the door. I'm going to hook her up to the refinery and take all the energy she's got. God, I need some of what she's got because this coffee's not cutting it. We'll talk to you later, folks. Bye.